chat up. Oh no. This will be a minute, guys. It's gonna make me click all the things that have bicycles. And wait for it to refresh so I can see if there are more bicycles. There are. Until there aren't any bicycles. Alright. Yeah, when I get logged out of the Restream chat, it makes you jump through it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man with
get
the
any more of
torrid
those.
clarinet and the even more torrid band who purveys assorted rhythms, all danceable, in the urban room of the Congress Hotel
Morning, Martin.
in Chicago. And first of all, one of
Hey, Eric.
Berlin's greatest hits, Blue Skies.
Alright. I need a drink. I think tonight maybe some scotch. Oh, and here comes Miles. He knows the score. Hey, Eileen. Octavio, Gladys, Lorena. Hey, Susan. Yeah, here comes the Miles. Miles, you are determined to wreck another computer, are you not? Yes. Oh, bicycles, I see. Alright. There's one of those stupid captures where you have to click all the bicycles, and is that a motorcycle or a bicycle? You don't know. Then after you click them all, some of them fade away and they come back and you still have to click them. Miles! You're upsetting a delicate balance here, buddy. I got some new stuff in this one, Miles. I changed it around some. Ah, that's good. Very peaty scotch. Islay Storm. Miles, you can't do... Miles. I got a lecture to prepare, Miles. You know that. Hey, Christy in the ATL. If I were a robot, you could just say everything I say is a lie and I would explode. Haven't you ever seen television? Timothy Roddy had a great trip. Hey, Marie. There you go, Miles. That's a good place for you right now. It's when I'm sitting there, it's not a good place. Do you get this? Cause and effect, not his thing. Hey, Mom. And you notice I forgot to put up the Facebook listing for this event until about 3-4 hours ago. Well, this is an awful mess. I know. It's awful. I know. That is empty. Hey, Jim. Hey, Bell over on YouTube. Now, Miles is like a typical 1860s Dickens fan. Like, we want the old Dickens. Why don't you do your early stuff? Like, go to his readings. He does do lots of his early stuff, but give Dr. Marigold a chance, Miles. Reply button not working. That's great. Is that your favorite Dickens book, Miles? Tale of Two Kitties. There's two kitties right here for you. Miles, we're trying to get Priya to play some chase games all night. But then they keep noticing there's Ronnie's tree is over there, so they got to run for that instead. They're just over there climbing stuff. I say I love you dearly. Good evening, everybody. Welcome along. It is Drink Like the Dickens, an annual holiday tradition around here. It's Boxing Day after all. So we will do this, our most British of all of our pub crawls. Hey, Sarah. Congrats to the girl. Sounds awesome. Hey, Kirk in Minneapolis. How far up the tree are you right now, Priya? Oh boy. She's been very into knocking things down lately. The bear's defense is working. The bear patrol must be working like a charm. Hey, Tony in Egg Harbor. Evening, Kathleen. Welcome along, everybody, to our holiday tradition. Hi to Mimi. Sandy, I don't know if we have a Mimi here.
Benny Goodman goes away back and gets a lot of rhythm out of Walk, Jenny, Walk. Benny Goodman and his orchestra.
Welcome along. We'll give Benny Goodman a couple more tunes. Hey, Tony in Peoria. Hey, Doreen. Hard Times Cafe. Oh, that's apropos over Dickens. Kind of overrated Dickens, but also kind of underrated Dickens. Overrated in that it's way over-assigned. It's short, so schools are much more likely to assign that than any other Dickens novel. But it's better than the minor Dickens it is sometimes cast off as. I think, anyway. Welcome along, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Drink Like the Dickens. Martin, you can't prepare for that because nobody expects it. Their chief weapon is surprise and fear, and an almost fanatical devotion to the Pope. Amongst their weaponry are such diverse elements as. That'll get us in a proper British mood for tonight. Hey, Keely. Hey, Donna in Houston. Welcome along, everybody. Totally forgot to put up the event listing for this, but you all know where I am on Thursday nights. Well, next Thursday, I believe I will be in Georgia. All right, we're going to give Benny Goodman one more tune here, and then we will start. Hey, David, glad to have you. So in Georgia, my parents are down there. There's an Eventbrite listing for this one up, but I think I forgot to put it on Facebook. If so, I put it on twice now. All set for Find a Grave tomorrow. A short coffee shop run. They don't open till 8 this week. What am I supposed to do from 6:45 to 7:45 when I normally have left? Chores? More sleep would be the logical thing, but that's not possible. I just can't. Welcome everybody, happy Boxing Day. Yes, we should all go to Savannah and see the door that is still painted brown. I've added a couple of things in this year. I did some filming while I was in the UK. So we can punch this one up a little bit. Benny's finishing up here. Once he gets done, we will launch properly. Hey, pala. Can't anyone tell me what Boxing Day is all about? No, we'll just stop you right there. No. But all right, that's Benny wrapping it on up, which means it's time for me to get serious around here, which means it's time to launch into our theme song.
Climb aboard, cause you don't know exactly where or when we'll go. Chicago 1893, or the Gilded Age in NYC. Blast off into outer space, drink till you're flat on your face. From the comfort of your home. So if you go alone, one day we'll even find that place in France. And don't come crying to us if you pee your pants. Time travel pub crawl. Time travel pub crawl. Time travel pub crawl. Yeah!
Welcome along, everybody, and happy Boxing Day, one and all, and God box us everyone. So welcome along. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago Tours, author of such books as Mysterious Chicago, The Book, Just Kill Me, a novel about a ghost tour guide who makes places more haunted by killing people at them. The Smart Alex Guide to American History is still in print and phenomenally out of date. Murder Maps USA, and of course, Graceland Cemetery, Chicago's Stories, Symbols, and Secrets. Volume 2 is now in the works, but in Volume 1, of course, we featured Augustus Dickens, the no-good brother of Charles Dickens, who ended up buried here in Chicago. There's a couple of Dickens family graves in the vicinity, while up in New York at the Trinity Uptown is Alfred Tennyson Dickens, a son, and in Moline, Illinois, of all places, is 2 gravestones, count them 2, for Francis Dickens, another son of Charles. Of course, the strangest thing I found in Moline was this one grave with a late model pair of sneakers on top, and the epitaph, "I will come to you." This is like an M.R. James story just waiting to happen. But back when I was doing ghost tours, in fact, I once got to take Lucinda Dickens Hawksley on the tour. She is a great-great-great-granddaughter of Charles Dickens, which she's kind of royalty at the Dickens Museum. And I figured out, I was just in the UK, I didn't have a whole lot of time for sightseeing in London, as mostly just stuff that was around the Royal Albert Hall. But I did make it a point to go to the Dickens Museum. So we'll check that out really quick here before we get going on our time travel pub crawl. This is what we do. When we started broadcasting, nobody could really go to pubs. So we thought we would go to virtual ones, and since we're virtual, we can go anywhere in time and space, even the Charles Dickens Museum. We probably should have gone when it was actually still his house in London. We'll take a step on into here. We'll go right inside. Come in. Charles Dickens lived here. Don't worry, he's not there now. Is that Layla? Probably not Layla. Cashier here was from Warner Robins, Georgia, of all places. Was very impressed that I knew who their high school mascot was, but we were there for debate tournaments. It's the devil. This is an ultra-red town, and they've got Satan painted all over the school. And also, there's more strip clubs per capita there than any other town I have ever been to or expect to go to in my whole entire life. But let's go up the stairs here at the Dickens Museum. Something especially suited for our morbid purposes. Up in here, they have got the bed where Charles Dickens breathed his last. The Charles Dickens deathbed. It all happened right here in 1870. But what I really wanted to see there, the thing I most wanted to see, was they've got a prop. One of the tables that he used at his public readings. Now, the last decade or so of his life, he made more money than he'd ever had on the books themselves by performing live from the books. And these are kind of lost events. They happened about a generation or so, about 10 or 15 years too early to have any of the audio recorded, and at least a generation too early to really be videotaped or anything, or filmed, as it would have been at the time. But he would give these public readings that are just kind of lost events now, but we do have a couple of paintings of them, a couple of sketches, Mark Twain's review of one of them, which he thought found too English. See, he called Steerforth Stjawfuth. Well, this is an actual prop from it. This was something I had always wanted to see. But what we do in this tour is we're going to discover Dickens a little bit. So we're going to move away from a place where he lived and died all the way into London. And once in London, we're going to go see the Lamb and Flag in Covent Garden, which is a place that he supposedly actually hung out. We know that Dryden the poet used to hang out here way back in the 1600s this place was built. Dryden was once beaten up and left for dead in this alley sometime, and the upstairs area, the snuggery, is still known as the Dryden Room. It says all over their website that Charles Dickens hung out in this place. That's not backed up by any contemporary account or anything Dickens ever said himself in his volumes and volumes of letters, but he was in the area a lot as a younger man. He was working in a blacking warehouse right down the road. And the fact that he'd worked in what was essentially a factory and that his father was in debtor's prison are things that you can't really read Dickens without knowing today. It's going to come up in the introduction as a part of how we understand it, but nobody knew that in his time, let alone all the stuff about his secret girlfriend, Nell Turner, which it's almost impossible to imagine Dickens now without knowing about Nell Turner. So many things in the books just make so much more sense now that we know that. We're going to go take a quick 360 view of this place. You can walk right in. But while he was working in the warehouse, he learned shorthand and became a courtroom reporter. A lot of reporters did hang out in this place, so it stands to reason that he probably would have been here. In fact, there was a thing called the Gin Palace in his first book, Sketches by Boz, which was all sketches of London life. This could have been the Gin Palace that he had in mind, after all. Here he is doing one of his readings. This is more like how he would have looked at the time. This is an example of his shorthand that's still extant. Sketches by Boz's first book, the Gin Palace would have been in here. It could have been here that he first learned how to make his famous recipe for punch. So he did make the recipe for punch.
Will, of course, apply to any quantity. Peel into a very strong common basin, which may be broken in case of accident without damage to the owner's piece or pocket, the rinds of 3 lemons, cut very thin and with as little as possible of the white coating between the peel and the fruit attached. Add a double handful of lump sugar, good measure, and a pint of good old rum, and a large wine glass full of brandy. If not a large claret glass, say 2. Set this on fire by filling a warm silver spoon with the spirit, lighting the contents and pouring them gently in.
This is really cool to do, by the way. Almost got Patty Vasquez's mom really drunk.
Let it burn for 3 or 4 minutes at least, stirring from time to time. Then extinguish it by covering the basin with a tray, which will immediately put out the flame. Then squeeze in the juice of 3 lemons and add a quart of boiling water.
And that's how you make Charles Dickens' punch recipe. You drink a lot of it, you're going to end up being, but one of the things is that the only brandy I could find was Paul Masson brand. And Paul Masson we mostly, of course, know for wine, and probably the most famous thing about Orson Welles today. Kind of sadly, but still.
Turn camera.
Mark.
102, take one.
With overlap, action please. Action Orson, please.
Just do anything?
No, sorry, cut. Yeah, rolling.
102, take two.
The French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. There is a California champagne by Paul Masson, inspired by that same French excellence. It's fermented in the bottle, and like the best French champagne, it's vintage dated. So Paul Masson.
102, take three.
Action please.
The French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. There is a California champagne by Paul Masson, inspired by that same French excellence. It's fermented in the bottle, and like the best French champagne, it's vintage dated. So Paul Masson.
Yeah, they had to bring him back in and do a voiceover the next day. But all right, some entertainment while we were sitting around here in the snuggery. Let's just sit in the snuggery. We're going to talk a little bit about Alice Getty, who I talk about quite a lot on the Graceland tours. I had my friend Mary Crowell record one of her pieces of sheet music. Now, she's a Chicago woman who who eventually became a Buddhist nun for a while. Wrote several books about Buddhist artwork. But before that, she wanted to be a composer. So here's one of her pieces called Pluie, recorded just for us. Or is it? Have we lost a count of this one? Hang on. Oh, yes, this is missing. Well, all right, we're going to have to get back to the music on this one a little bit later. Here we are. This is because this is on account of having moved things around a bit. I better not do that. We better move on. This tends to shut down this whole app. We're gonna just move on a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. We'll try this again a little bit. We'll try that one again a little bit later. We're gonna blast through hyperspace. You see, the culture has only improved since the days that Charles Dickens used to hang out here. But we're going to move about 20 miles out of London to the town of Dorking, which I've actually been to Dorking. I went specifically to stock up on postcards. But in Dorking is a place called the White Horse Hotel, which has just been renovated with a whole bunch of Dickens stuff on the inside, because there's a scene from his first really major novel, The Pickwick Papers, takes place here. The Pickwick Papers ostensibly is about four guys going out to examine England, but really it kind of lost track of what they were supposed to be doing and just became a series of wild adventures, especially after they met the character of Sam Weller, who was just utterly popular at the time. He was kind of like the Fonzie of his day, the breakout character. Especially known for what they came to be known as Wellerisms. Things like saying, "There, now we looked compact and comfortable," as the father said when he cut off his little boy's head to cure him of squinting. Or, "Oh, is that you, Coffin?" said one casket to the other. It's the things that now turn up in just joke books. But at the time, they were considered the funniest thing that had ever happened. Now, The Pickwick Papers was so popular. Like, if you do the numbers, like 80% of all people who could read had a copy of this. That people also started tracking down like all of the inns and stuff. And if you wrote an article talking about the point in Pickwick Papers where they ate at this inn in this town, and you made a mistake, you were gonna get letters about it. Lots and lots of letters. But Sam Weller hung out at the White Horse near a place called the Marquis of Granby. where he and his father would drink pineapple rum, which is basically just you take some rum, add pineapple juice and hot water to taste, and there you go. Delicious drink. There's all these great drinks in Dickens that we try to recreate on this. But, the Pickwick Papers it's a very interesting. Here's a message coming in from Mandy right now.
Hey, Adam, what are the Pickwick Papers even about?
What are the Pickwick Papers about? I've read it. Maybe we should ask Eli about this. Eli always got much better grades than I did. Hey, Eli. Eli?
Adam,
Hey,
what can I do for you?
you're a smart guy, right? Good grades?
I'd like to think so, yes.
Do you know what the Pickwick Papers is about?
The Pickwick Papers. Now that is an interesting question. On the one hand, what does it mean for something to be about something? Is it the reader's impression or the author's intention that really matters? Can we really know what something is about? Now the Greeks had an interesting theory that...
Eli, you don't know, do you?
Not at all, no.
Okay. Well then, you see the thing is, we also have to go back to this morning on the mini tour. You talked about Archibald MacLeish, who wrote that a poem doesn't need to mean, it needs to be. So maybe we should just best not concern ourselves with what the Pickwick Papers is actually about, per se. Here's a message coming in from Layla, too.
Adam, I have a message for you from the effing Chicago headquarters.
What's up?
If you don't find out what the Pickwick Papers are about, Christmas won't come this year.
Didn't already? It's Boxing Day.
Hey, I don't know how holidays work. Don't ask me.
Well, that's a fair question. Let's see. This sounds kind of serious. We've got to find out what the Pickwick Papers are all about, or Christmas isn't even going to come, even though it already came yesterday. This is a whole time and space kind of thing, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, what have you. Let's see if we can find anybody who can help me with this. Anybody here at the Lamb and Flag? I know you're busy twisting and shouting, but anybody here know what the Pickwick Papers were about? Let's check the guys outside. Anybody? I just need to know. Isn't there anybody who can tell me what the Pickwick Papers are all about? Maybe Hipster Bert will know.
Hi, Adam. I was just sitting down to a cool glass of barrel-aged kombucha.
Sounds delicious, Hipster Bert, but I wanted to ask you about Charles Dickens.
On.
Have you read the Pickwick Papers?
Huh, you mean the book that sold to 80% of all people who could read when it came out? That's really mainstream.
Yeah, maybe in 1840.
My favorite Charles Dickens book is a really obscure one that you probably haven't heard of. Martin Chuzzlewit.
Yeah, this is one where Martin and Mark Tapley go to America.
Uh-huh. It's a forgotten masterpiece.
Agreed.
The doctor on Doctor Who said the American bit is rubbish, but he's wrong.
Agreed, but what's the Pickwick Papers about?
Don't be so basic, Adam.
Miles! Like Martin and Mark Tapley, we are going to have to go to America and see what we can find here. We'll go to Pickwick Place in Chicago. You all remember Pickwick Place.
Charles Dickens, you're brilliant, you are. Completely 100% brilliant. I read them all. Great Expectations, Oliver Twist, and what's the other one? The one with the ghost? Christmas Carol? No, the one with the trains. The Signalman, that's it. Terrifying. The best short story ever written. You're a genius. Mind you, I've got to say, that American bit of Martin Chuzzlewit, what's that about? Was that just padding or what? I mean, it's rubbish, that bit. I thought you said you were my fan. Oh, well, if you can't take criticism.
Well, the doctor is wrong here. The American bit is fine. So over here, a place that we go to on a couple of our walking tours, which will be back in a couple of months. There is an alley here known as Pickwick Alley. It has long been known as such because even in the 1880s, people thought this place seemed like something out of the Pickwick Papers. In it, in fact, for a long time, was a place called Abson's English Chop House, which was Chicago's headquarters for mutton. This was Chicago's English food emporium in one of the smallest buildings anywhere in the city. It was run by a guy named Colonel Abson, who was supposedly a famous chef in Britain, but probably not. Having just been there, I think famous chef in Britain means you know how to add salt or something. Well, let's ask Colonel Abson.
Welcome to Pickwick Place. I'm Colonel Abson. Hope you like mutton.
Do you do any special drinks here?
Just beer. Now, how do you take your mutton?
Really, I just want to know, since you're here in Pickwick Place, do you know what the Pickwick Papers is about?
Did Big Jim send you? Is this another gambling raid? Where would I even keep a faro table in a place this small? Get out of here.
Okay, think we're just going to go rushing away here. I don't know. Why don't we go down Newsboys Alley? After all, there was a whole section in the American bit of Martin Chuzzlewit where they talk about the New York Newsies. Newsies shouting, here's this morning's New York sewer, here's this morning's New York stabber, here's the New York family spy, here's the New York private listener, here's the New York peeper, here's the New York plunderer, here's the New York keyhole reporter, here's the New York rowdy journal, here's all the New York papers, here's all the full particulars of the patriotic Loco-Foco movement yesterday in which the Whigs was so chawed up, and the last Alabama gouging case, and the interesting Arkansas duel with Bowie knives, and all the political, commercial, and fashionable news. Here they are, here's the papers. Really terrific stuff. We're in Newsboys Alley right now. This is a drawing of the Newsies as they would have appeared at the time, and a photograph of them. A guy named J. Ellsworth Gross took an awful lot of these. But right in the middle of it also was the entrance to the Whitechapel Club, which was a press club for people who worked the crime beat, guys who would dip their fingers in the ashes of departed members to kick off the meetings. We've ended up here on a number of pub crawls. I feel like it's only time that these guys might know. They all read.
Oh, it's you and all of your guests.
Yep.
Again.
Uh-huh.
Well, might as well come inside.
Thanks, I was hoping you could help me out.
With drinks, I assume.
Well, actually, I was hoping you knew what the Pickwick Papers was about.
Pickwick Papers? All I know is that the pineapple rum is like a beginner's version of our punch.
Yeah.
But you know, Dickens died before he could finish The Mystery of Edwin Drood. I was just about to explain my theory about how it was going to end.
Well, the orthodox solution involves the
quick
quick
This
line.
will take a few hours. Now, let's assume that the obviously telegraphed ending with the quicklime and the ring was one of Jasper's opium dreams, and then we can...
you know what? I think we're just gonna run. Okay, we're running backwards here. This could take us a very long time. In any case, let's zip out of here. Let's zip back to the UK. We're getting chased with knives and people's Edwin Drood theories. This is just never gonna end well. So, all right, let's get to New York anyway. Dickens came to New York in 1842, made fun of it mercilessly, then came back in 1867 on one of his reading tours, one of his later ones. And while he was staying at the Westminster Hotel, as pictured below, there was a time when he got sick. He got what he called an American catarrh. Well, really, he had a cold. So his landlord gave him a drink called the Rocky Mountain Sneezer, which was said to cure what ailed you. Now, the Rocky Mountain Sneezer consisted of a shot of rum, a shot of brandy, some Angostura bitters, a dash of sugar, and a handful of snow. This is New York snow, so it was probably not clean. But that's all you do. You take these liquors and add in a handful of snow, which dissolves just about instantly. I don't know if it actually cures what ails you, but you'll definitely feel a little bit better anyway. Well, no one can help us here in any way. Martin Chuzzlewit didn't sell that well at first. Dickens found that he needed some more cash right about in the middle of it. So, back he went to the UK to write A Christmas Carol. Well, that's where we're going anyway. Hey, our special guests, the Dead Ringer Quartet.
Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. Please to put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you.
Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat.
Nice.
Please
Christmas
to put
is
a penny
coming,
in
the
the
goose
old
is getting
man's
fat.
hat. If you
Please to
haven't
put
got
a penny in the
a
old
halfpenny
man's
will
hat.
do.
If you
haven't
haven't got a
halfpenny,
penny,
then
a halfpenny
God
will
bless
do.
you.
If you haven't got a
Christmas is
halfpenny, then
coming,
God
the goose
bless
is getting
you.
fat.
Christmas
Please to
is
put a
coming,
penny
the
in
goose
the
is
old
getting
man's
fat.
hat.
Please to put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, then God bless you. If you haven't got a penny, then God bless you. If you haven't got a penny, then the goose is getting fat. Please to put a penny in the God bless you. If you haven't got a penny, a penny will do. If you haven't got a penny, God bless you. God bless you. A penny will God bless you. If you God bless you, then God bless you.
If you haven't got a halfpenny, then
God bless you.
Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat.
All right, the Dead Ringer Quartet, everybody, with a song I only know from the Muppets personally. But hey, in the middle of writing Martin Chuzzlewit, Dickens was struck by inspiration and the need for some cash and wrote A Christmas Carol. We're back in the UK now. Now, among the more popular scenes in this popular book, now the book I think is honestly underrated as writing. People kind of brush it off as popular Dickens. And we're so familiar with the story now that we're kind of immunized to how good the prose is. This is Dickens trying to write things more concisely than he normally did. And just like in the first page, Marley was dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own particular knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined, myself, to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hand shall not disturb it or the country's done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was as dead as a doornail. Then a little bit later, it was cold, bleak, biting weather, foggy withal, and he could hear the people in the court outside go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts and stamping their feet upon the pavement snows to warn them. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. It had not been light all day, and the candles were flaring in the windows of the neighboring offices like ruddy smears against the palpable brown air. What a good line. This was Dickens' first short book. He was not actually paid by the word or anything. That's a little bit It's a little bit of a myth or a misunderstanding, but books were contracted to be a certain length at the time, and people expected a big chunk of book for their money. If you adjust for inflation, a book was like $300 in modern money. So, at the end of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge meets with Bob Cratchit to offer him a glass of smoking bishop, or a bowl of smoking bishop. That was a drink that you made with oranges, cloves, and grapefruits. You put the cloves inside of them, then it bakes for quite a long time. Really a very tasty drink. Here's a little bit of the Dead Ringer Quartet once again.
Ye surgeons who more executions have done with potions and powders and bolus and pill, than hangman with noose or soldiers with guns, or miser with famine, or lawyer with quill, to dispatch us the quicker forbid us malt liquor till our bodies grow weak and our faces grow pale.
But mind who he pleases, what cures all diseases is a comforting bottle of Nottingham ale.
Nottingham ale, boys, Nottingham ale, no liquor on earth is like Nottingham ale. Nottingham ale, boys, Nottingham ale, no liquor on earth is like Nottingham ale.
Nottingham ale. All right. I was just in Nottingham. I loved Nottingham. Every town has its ups and downs, and sometimes the ups outnumber the downs. I loved Nottingham. And here to play us another version of that, mixed in with a couple of others, here's one of our infamous fiddlers, Amy McNally. Amy McNally, the infamous fiddler, with a medley of Nancy Dawson, Nottingham Ale, and Roger McCoverley, which was specifically mentioned as being played at Mr. Fezziwig's ball, or Fozziwig's if you prefer, in Christmas Carol. You know, maybe old Fezziwig himself, solid gold old Fezziwig, maybe he can tell us what the Pickwick Papers are all about. So, Mr. Fezziwig, do you know what the Pickwick Papers were about? No, him either. Okay, well, let's move on through England a little bit then. We'll go try out the Grapes. So this is a place called the Grapes, but it looked like this back in Dickens' day. Back then, before the embankments were put in, this was right on the river. It was clearly the model for a pub called the Six Jolly Fellowship Porters that was written into the book Our Mutual Friend. At the time, it looked about like this. Our Mutual Friend is the last Dickens novel that was completed. It's almost like the entire Dickens canon in redo. It's like kind of taking back and redoing all the same stuff, but with all the lessons he'd learned since then. It occasionally even comes up in like Dickens Village. Perhaps the most famous character from it is Jenny Wren, who's kind of magical. But there's also a couple of young lawyers with no clients, Lightwood and Rayburn, who come to the Six Jolly Fellowship Porters and have this fantastic conversation. And idiots talk of energy. If there is a word in the dictionary under any letter from A to Z that I abominate, it is energy. It is such a conventional superstition, such parrot gabble. What the deuce? But show me a good opportunity, show me something really worth being energetic about, and I'll show you energy. And all over the city, it is mentioned, probably 100 other young men were having exactly this same conversation. But this is what it looks like today. It is now known as the Grapes, and was known as the Grapes at the time. I really wanted to get to this place when I was in town. I just didn't have time. But this is the inside of it. It's now partially owned by Sir Ian McKellen, or was. Here he is, in fact, hanging out, helping people out at the pub quiz. I could really use the help at a British pub quiz. I went to one in Liverpool. Too much stuff about, like, British candy and British television shows that I'd never seen. But when a question came up about swing states in the recent U.S. election, I was like, all right, Adam's time to shine. Maybe we can ask the bartender here if he can tell us what the Pickwick Papers are all about anyway.
Good evening, sir. Good heavens, but you look a fright.
It's been a long night.
I should say so. Perhaps a burned sherry to calm your nerves.
I hear you burn sherry well here, but we're all pretty drunk and really cold. Cold.
Then a port negus. Now, the main ingredient is pickled calves' feet, but you can just take some lemon and orange peel, put them in port with cinnamon and cloves, and then let it steep for a while. Then add hot water. It won't make you too much more drunk, and the orange oil will warm you right up.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Oh, or a Rocky Mountain sneezer. Dickens's American landlord made one for him, and...
Yeah, we had one of those back at Delmonico's. We just have one question to ask. I was hoping it'd be more hope than everybody else.
My dear boy, the Grapes dates back to the days of good Queen Bess herself. Try me.
Is there anyone who can tell me what the Pickwick Papers are all about?
I can.
You can?
Lights, please. You see, Adam, the Pickwick Papers, there's no particular plot. It's not about anything. They just wander around eating and drinking for 800 pages.
Just like we've been doing.
Precisely. And that's what the Pickwick Papers is all about, Charlie Brown.
And that's what Christmas is all about too, right?
Well, in England at least.
All right. So now we've got it, folks. Now that we've figured out the Pickwick Papers are not about anything, while we're still in England, we got a couple of minutes left on the clock. Why don't we make our way to Stratford-upon-Avon and check out the Garrick Inn? This place goes back to the 1600s. It is a building that Shakespeare would have known himself that is still standing. Now, there you got some Tudor style. Haha, exposed beams and everything. The Garrick Inn, named after the actor David Garrick, who helped to really cement Shakespeare's reputation as the national poet of England in the 1700s. Let's go right on inside of this place. let this person through. And make our way in. This is Tudor in and out. You just don't see places this old in the States. And this is what I had to eat in this place. This is what the view from my seat. I had this roast with a Yorkshire pudding. It was okay. Which I had learned not to expect miracles by then. So, of course, while we were in town also, made my way, of course, to Shakespeare's grave. Now, the Shakespeare birthplace is very, very touristy. But the grave is really not. The docent in the middle there in the light-colored outfit told me she had personally broken all 10 commandments. She ruled. But the point was that God took her back. When she started working here, as a docent right here where Shakespeare himself is buried under the church floor. With an epitaph reading, "Cursed be he that moves my bones." So, to close us off today, since it is Boxing Day and all, and we're at Shakespeare's grave, I'll just do a little bit from Shakespeare. When that I was a little tiny boy, with hey-ho, the wind and rain, the smallest thing was but a toy, and the rain it raineth every day. When I came to man's estate, with hey-ho, the wind and rain, that's fools and knaves men shut their gate, for the rain it raineth every day. When I came last to wive, hey-ho, the wind and rain, by swaggering I could never thrive, for the rain it raineth every day. When I came unto my bed, with hey-ho, the wind and rain, and swaggering I could never, with tosspot still at drunken head, rain it raineth every day. A great while ago the world began, with hey-ho, the wind and the rain. That's all one, our play is done. We'll strive to please you every day. Happy Boxing Day, everybody. All right, welcome along. Once again, everybody, thank you very much for joining me. This has been Virtual Time Travel Pub Crawl presents Drink Like the Dickens. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago Tours. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Chicago time for Find a Grave Friday. We're on here all the time. If you have been coming out and enjoying things all year round, this will be our last one of 2024, our last big one. Please do consider tossing something in to keep these things going. So thanks a lot. Loverly, Cindy. Welcome along, everybody. So thanks. We are getting into the post-show hangout now. So keep on sipping your drinks, whether you're drinking booze, whether you're drinking water, whether you're having some apple juice. Whatever you feel like. The song is from the end of 12th Night. I've seen more bad versions of 12th Night than... Spot of tea, perfect, Karen. I am just drinking some scotch. And I'm able to tape for a really peaty scotch at the Joker and Thief in Edinburgh. I got some pictures of that, right? I'm gonna show you guys some snapshots. Yeah, this is pub in Edinburgh where I met with some other Dylan fans called the Joker and the Thief. Quite appropriately enough. And there's our group hanging out in there. Me and Ian and Angus, Victor. Of course, around here we talk about grave robbing quite a bit, so Burke and Hare, the noted Edinburgh grave robbers who eventually figured out you could save a lot of time by just killing people, are the namesake here of a strip club. There's some other stuff. There was in Nottingham, we ended up in this pub where we could see like other levels and thought at one point that we saw a ghost. So we went to go investigate this ghost. Turned out it was just some guy, but we found him. We found a door that said, haunted. Get out, ghost. See it, say it, sorted. Also rather enjoyed a place called the Lynchgate in Wolverhampton. Just what you expect from an English pub. Hideous wallpaper, hideous carpet, and a sign saying Button Gwinnett was married there. While there, my friend Mariel said that I absolutely had to get at least one cheesy shot while I was in town. So here's me pretending to be a publican. Not a Republican, I would even pretend that.
And that would put rhythm in the feet of a wooden Indian. That was the bugle.
And near this place called Huck's. The directions to getting to the loo were to go past the pulpit under the giraffe, like you weren't drunk enough already by the time you got to this place. Well, here's something I saw over near Highgate Cemetery that I think you guys will like. The Rabbit Hole Cafe. It's very expensive, as lunch options go. Also met up with some people at the Troubadour. Down here is the stage where Bob Dylan played in 1962, his first trip to the UK. They brought a bunch of us Dylan people down there. I do like this one. This place would eventually be very crowded. There's a place called the Queen's Arms. I just think this is such a fun shot. You can see the couple hugging over on the side there. My friends Laura and Leslie are in the door. You can see my friend Benny on the inside. A lot of arms in that place. We would go from the Queen's Arms to the Gloucester Arms. Whole octopus in there. Those are just some of them. Generally, before and after a show, there'd be some kind of meetup, and usually more than one.
Down Harlem Way, they're all trucking. And here's Helen Ward to tell you all about her. Trucking.
Thanks to those of you kicking in here. Appreciated tremendously. Helps keep us running. I mean, it's a given the numbers are going to be down since the height of when nobody could go anywhere. Since the first time we did this one. But I know it's still a gathering place for a lot of people, so I still kind of feel compelled to keep it up. Haven't decided what we're going to do for the virtual tour next week. I got to check and make sure that a Thursday night's going to work out. Yeah, tomorrow is Find a Grave Friday. Picked based on his proximity to where I know a store I know will have the cat toy I need to replace for Miles. He broke Jump Mouse. He's been breaking a lot of stuff. I guess it's just old and worn out. It wasn't a deliberate bust. All over town. Thanks to the people kicking in. It really does help. Especially this time of year when I don't have any other paid gigs, really. There's a small honorarium that I get for doing the Chicago for Chicagoans. And that is coming up in less than 2 weeks. I really got to put that presentation together. They sold out in a day. Apparently a lot of people want to hear about Frank Lloyd Wright's scandals. Luckily, they're easy enough to find.
Benny Goodman presents On the Alamo.
Will I ever get paid for the stars people send? I don't know if I ever will, but I don't think there's enough in there really to make it work. The amount of effort that I've tried to jump through to get paid from the stars on Facebook is absurd and it's not going anywhere. But yeah, that Chicago for Chicagoans thing in a couple of weeks they had 100 tickets. They moved to a larger venue this year, and I sold out in a day. See, that's nice. Miles came by early, but he keeps like walking across the keyboard and back across the keyboard. I'm really trying to keep him off of my keyboards. You having just broken a whole computer. Oh, Venmo, I have to open to unwrap. Fun, thanks. Oh, and it's a dreidel. The dreidel spins around. Thanks, Cindy. Timmy, that's probably about right. Oh, hey. Look who's here. Hey, Lily. Well, he got me a Hanukkah skee ball set. Lily seems very interested in it. Now she's going to sniff out my Bob Dylan book.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and we stay right in the urban room of the Congress Hotel in Chicago and dance along
Rare
to
sighting of Lily. All right.
Goodman and his orchestra, and hear Helen Ward sing. Eeny, meeny,
Oh, you know one
miny,
thing I forgot to show you guys is back in another thing in Stratford-on-Avon, they had a business called the Chicago Rock Cafe. Unfortunately, they were not open while I was around. Lily? You want to check out the menorah, Lily? Is that what you're doing? Where'd she go? Lily? Lily, you sneaky cat. She might have noticed that Miles is on the couch. If Miles is in her room, she will walk out or expects him to. Presently, Priya is over by the green chair here. Miles is on the couch. You can't really see him from this angle. So for a minute there, we had all three cats in the same room, which normally only happens when we dole out treats. Let's go say hi to Priya. Hey, Priya. Can I see you down there? No, you just moved, huh? You just ran for it. Well, Miles sits right here. Oh, Lily's back over my shoulder again now. Oh, well, you can see her clear over in the dining room there. Lily, don't scratch that, please. Priya is not one to be on the TV too much. More so than Lily, though. Hey, the cool cats from the playhouse. Very big influence on my sense of what's cool. Well, I wish Miles was a little more chill. But anytime I'm working at my desk, he wants to come and get all the attention. I wonder why. Hey, K-Shoot Video. You're just in time for the post-show hangout. Or the last minute or so of it anyway. Alright, I have to say. Now, you've already seen Miles a couple of times tonight. But alright. Hey, Miles, you want to say hi? Oh. Yeah, now he wants to run. Well, I tried, everybody. So, alright, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning for Find a Grave Friday. Bit of a commute, so do tune in. I'm out of a mysterious Chicago tour saying Happy Boxing Day, everybody. Stay safe, stay strong, and of course, if you can, angle this so you don't see my double chin. Stay spooky, everybody.